time. SCV chat starts now.
You're muted.
It's because you muted me. If
I
I
did
had
not.
a producer on this show, we would be doing great. But you know,
Ouch.
welcome to SCV Chat, where every week they try to catch us riding dirty with some type of mistake, and yet it happens. You think after 7 years or 7 seasons of this, we'd be ready, but you know, it is what it is. But before we get started, the views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are not those of the SCV, its GC, nor any division, brigades, camps, or other subsidiaries. Strictly those of us expressing them. Question for tonight. I just was scrolling across Facebook, making sure everything was up and going. Saw that Monuments Across Dixie put out a question that's kind of interesting. And I'm going to ask it to y'all. If y'all could kick out any 3 states of the Union, what would you kick out?
California, New York.
Illinois, Hawaii, and you know why.
Screw Hawaii.
And probably Delaware. I don't know.
Well, I just accidentally shared our group from the Heart of Joy love quotes. I don't know why I'm in this group, but they're about to get their weekly dose of SCV chat.
Well, it has been a good 7 years, y'all.
Can you imagine? I know who runs it. It's someone I went to high school with. She's going to text me and be like, why? And I'm just going to tell her it's fun with flags. Who wouldn't want to be a part of this?
I ask myself that every week. How are you doing today, Moose?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I have a slam-packed week.
Arizona. Yeah, I was at the hibachi place the other day, and some guy kept talking to I'm like waiting to place my order, and this guy who's already placed his order and gotten his change is just having a wonderful conversation with the only person working the register about how he used to live in Arizona and how there was no rain and the weather stayed all the same thing the same time in Arizona and Arizona and Arizona. So yeah, Arizona's.
You know what? I know what I would kick out because in my mind it
Connecticut. That's another good one.
Connecticut is a pretty.
They
good
killed
one.
George Spencer. R.I.P.
But so I got California. Love to the California division, but let's keep y'all. It's the rest of California I don't like.
Yeah, the Nancy Pelosi area.
Yeah.
Opinions.
And then just New York in general. I'm kind of tied up between New Jersey and
how about the what was it, 36 that came down here, invaded the South, and waged an illegal war on us? How about them? Anyway, but it is Funds with Flags night. So
yeah,
I had interrupted you. You telling us about how you have a busy week as a poor broke college student.
Yes, because I have surprise to absolutely no one. I would kick out the carpetbaggers in Virginia and the scallywags. Virginia just needs to be saved from them idiots. But yeah, no, we've been doing this for almost 6 years. I'm used to you interrupting me. Over 500 episodes in total. I'm used to it.
Are you?
Over 200 on this show specifically. But I have just a crap ton. I mean, like waking up very early every day and getting done at like 10 o'clock at night type of work to do my training this week. And then I have my camp meeting Thursday, my brigade meeting Friday, and a division event and the division DEC meeting Saturday. Friday's normally when I get a lot of my work done. So is Thursday. So this week is going to be interesting to say the least. Luckily, my camp has what we call fellowship meetings where We don't discuss any business. We trust our camp executive council to handle any business that is needed to be handled. And it is catfish and crawfish night. But Friday, I have a full blown brigade meeting, and Saturday, of course, I have a full blown event that I actually have to finish doing some stuff for tonight or tomorrow.
I would like to point out for the historical record that when Larry first started taking on the Beauregard persona, Tar Strain, past First Lady of the Confederation, started calling Larry Bobo, and he got so ticked off because she was doing it because they had a dog named Bobo. And so,
Bobo!
yeah. So I just want to
from Duck Dynasty.
so I just want to point out for everyone that Larry has now accepted Bobo. So I don't want to hear anymore. I'm not named after the dog, because I heard that a lot.
Oh, I did forget to do something today, though. Stop it. I'm going on the Mississippi Division page right now.
Well, while Moose does that, just going to go ahead and fill y'all in on a very important event. Of course, this past weekend was the GEC meeting up at headquarters. A bunch of good stuff for the Confederation happened. I could not make it. It's forgot why I couldn't. Oh yeah, we had stuff at the house I had to do, so I just couldn't make it up there. But the GEC meets in the spring and the fall and at Reunion, so the next one will be at Reunion. But also coming up this weekend, Adam Southern asked us to plug this and remind everybody that if you want to see Bobo, come to the Sam Watkins Book Festival at historic Elm Springs, Columbia, Tennessee. Shop hundreds of used War Between the States books from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and hear authors Shelby Heideball, Joyce Shoemate, and Larry McClooney Jr. Shelby did the Behind the Rifle. Very interesting presentation about women who fought in the War Between the States. Larry's new book, which is a sponsor of the show, Paradox of Freedom. And then Joyce Nunn Shoemate did one about Nellie, the pet hen of General Robert E. Lee. So that seems like it'll be an interesting little lineup. Plus, like I said, headquarters, when we're getting extra books in, we have an overflow of them. They are selling them as a fundraiser to help
support that.
So I'll go. Oh, it was Morgan Ann. I apologize, Bobo. But also this past week on
what did I do to you, Larry?
This past week on Wednesday was Confederate Flag Day. And the reason why it is celebrated as such, in case this is your first time hearing it because you're coming from the Love group or whatever Harrison shared us to, the Confederacy adopted its first national flag on March 4th, 1861, and its third national flag, you kind of somewhat see it right there over my shoulder, on March 4th, 1865. The second national was adopted in May of 1862. Shortly or sometime around Jackson's death. But our first and our current national flags, catch what I did there, my views and opinions, on March 4th. So we celebrate it on that day. Usually, we celebrate the day, and then in the past we've had observances. Tennessee had an observance this past weekend at the Nathan Bedford Forrest Boyhood Home, where they retired some flags. Something that kind of fell aside with COVID, but I hope is making a resurgency. So we are doing an episode that we did during our first couple of years called Fun with Flags. If you were a fan of Big Bang Theory, that was Sheldon's little video that he did, video series on vexillology, and that's kind of what we're doing it as a homage to that, as well as to talk about the different flags, the Confederacy. I mean, so often people just assume that we had one flag and it's just the St. Andrew's Cross, and they don't realize that there were multiple different flags that represented various units, armies, and other subsidiaries, navies, squadrons, things of that nature during the War Between the States. So, And one of our sponsors for this season, Beauregard Tailor. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our Beauregard's Tailor, excuse me. Going to go ahead and bring up. He does a bunch of great reproduction of historical flags. And you can go and visit him at Beauregard'sTailor.shop. That's BeauregardStailor.shop. And look at some of his flags. You may find one of, I know Harrison has some that he's going to show here in a couple minutes that his ancestors fought under, as well as, your camp's namesake or something like that. So he's kind of our title sponsor, if you will, for this episode. Although we do thank all of our sponsors. We'll thank them before we go to our commercial break. But definitely check out Andrew and his work there.
Yeah, please do. As I will get into a bit later, wonderful, historically accurate flags. A lot of love puts into them. And me and Dad have actually been supporting Beauregard's Tailor with getting some of their flags for a while now. So I am pretty excited to talk about this tonight.
So you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first because I don't have a lot of information on these flags, but I did want to pop them up, and I do actually have a couple of them here with me. Not all of them, but a good bit of them. So where are you? There you are. So first, I'm going to talk about the flag of the 43rd Mississippi. This was under my ancestor, Sergeant John Chimslum. He was captured, made prisoner of war on 3 separate occasions. Once after the Battle of Corinth, once after the fall of Vicksburg, and finally after the Battle of Nashville, where he was sent to Camp Douglas, survived until the end of the war, and returned to Kemper County, Mississippi, to live out the rest of his life. He is buried in the family cemetery in Kemper County. The original flag did not survive the war, but this was recreated using research and eyewitness accounts. Of course, Vicksburg there, and always got to show some love to Vicksburg.
Question.
But what's the question?
Is that the Camel Regiment?
Yes, it is. So I had an ancestor in the Camel Regiment.
I had an ancestor that was stationed right beside him and probably ate some of the camel.
That's okay. So obviously I can't back up enough to show you the whole flag, but my father started a program a couple years ago where he would get our ancestors' flags and show them off and report on the history of them. Of course, this is one of them. And of course, this is from Beauregard's Tailor.
Yeah, I believe that that him, the author of the book on the 43rd, and Jim Huffman from formerly Picayune, Mississippi,
Jim,
now who lives in Texas, our division genealogist, and former self-proclaimed garden gnome of Beauvoir, as the cemetery. I don't know if y'all could tell or not, but we updated our background video. Yeah, thank you, patrons, for letting me get the software where I could actually get some good footage and video and stuff. But that's actually the Beauvoir Cemetery flyover right now. But they actually did help Andrew with the research and help get those recreations of that flag made.
Yeah, Dad actually has a small replica of the Camel's monument at Vicksburg. So yeah, that was one of those surprises. We didn't know we had anybody that served in the Camel Regiment, but we were talking to the camp there. We were talking to a couple of the historians, and it slowly kind of pieced together. Well, we've heard that name before, Sergeant John, in our family tree. So we did the research, and yes, he did in fact serve in the Camel Regiment, which I'm very proud of. I thought that was a very cool surprise on a random Confederate memorial in Vicksburg.
And he too probably ate some camel.
He probably did. Yeah, he was one of our ancestors that we called the escape artist because, as I said, he did become a prisoner of war on 3 separate occasions and escaped twice somehow. And, of course, the third one was the one that stuck, and he had to stay there until the end of the war. But he somehow made it back to Kemper County. Moving on, Now, for those who don't know, a lot of the Dawes family actually came from North Carolina. So this is kind of some of my ancestors' older brothers and cousins and such. But next flag up would be the flag of the 33rd North Carolina Company B. This is their company flag. Yes, thank you, Connor. And our ancestors that served under this one was brothers John Robert and James Reardon Dawes. Neither, sadly, would survive the war. They would both participate in the Battle of Hanover Courthouse on May 27th, 1862. After the battle, Private John Robert Dawes would be admitted to the hospital in Richmond. He would die from sickness on January 14th, 1863. He is buried without a headstone in Oakwood Cemetery in Richmond. Now, I do want to give an update on that. Me and my father, I believe, paid for him to get his new headstone, so he does have a headstone now. My camp, Samuel H. Poe Camp, actually also sponsored some Rainbow Rifle Camp headstones in Oakwood Cemetery. His brother, Private James Reardon Dawes, died in the Battle of Fraser's Farm on June 30th, 1862. His resting place is sadly only known to God. The flag survived the war, is in the former Museum of the Confederacy, now in Virginia. And shout out to Private James Reardon Dawes, because he is represented at the Tomb of the Unknown Confederate Soldier at Beauvoir. It is one of the reasons why I love having events down there. I get to remember him specifically on that day. But here is their battle flag. Let's pull it out. See if I can get this right the first try. There we go. There we go. A little bigger than the other one.
Yeah, well, I was going to say it. I do like it how it has all the battle honors on it.
Oh, I love the details like that. But yeah, again, from Beauregard's Tailor. And next up, we actually have like 3 or 4 flag designs of this one, and I'll explain that in a minute. Let me just try my best over here to help myself out. There it goes on the mic. That's nice.
Good job.
Thank you. I try my best. But the next flag up, let me make sure this is the right one. Yes. All right. So, of course, the next flag up is the Wayne Rifles flag. Of course, that is the flag of the Wayne Rifles in my hometown of Wayne County, Mississippi. The Wayne Rifles, Company B of the 13th Mississippi Infantry. My ancestor in this was privates Thomas and James McElwain. Of course, McElwain, if you're in my camp, you'll know this name, but simply because the majority of us are related to the McElwains. Private Thomas S. McElwain would only serve 1 year of the war, and he would be replaced by his nephew, who was only 16 when he enlisted. Thomas would move to Texas after the war, and is buried in Oak Hill Cemetery in Smithville, Texas. We have not been able to track him after the war and what his life was. Private James R. McElwain would serve an incredible length in the war, where he would end up being wounded at Gettysburg during Barksdale's famous charge of July 2nd, 1861. He would survive, though, and return to South Mississippi after the war. He is buried in Meridian, Mississippi. The Wayne Rifles flag survived the war, and after hanging in the Wayne County Courthouse for many years, is now home with the Mississippi Department of Archives and History. And of course, this flag has a very unique history with me. I love it to death. And some of the fun facts I'm about to get into are because of the unique description of it. So let me pull those up. Let's see here. I had to add that to the ending. Let's see here. I used to have this saved. Let's see if I have it now. Talking about the designer of the flag, which was the first captain of the Wayne Rifles. Of course, it would later be the flag that Samuel H. Poe served under during his time as captain of the Wayne Rifles. And him and a couple of the Wayne Rifles come back home would make sure that that flag flew at the courthouse. Let's see here. But the cool history about this one is you see Beauregard Tailor's design. Well, there's actually a couple designs for this. We actually have 3 flags for the Wayne Rifles flag at our house. When my camp was first looking to make a unique camp logo, and of course, we wanted to have the Wayne Rifles flag at our meeting and a camp flag at our meeting. Well, we discovered this design. And this was very popular for the early years of our camp, but this was the unique design of the Wayne Rifles flag. Until recent years, when my father did a bit more research and discovered there's another description of how the Wayne Rifles flag looked along with this one. This one officially actually is our camp logo and our camp flag right now, with, of course, the name of the camp at the bottom, as well as a flag we carry deeply in our hearts. But as you can see, that's what I love about the Wayne Rifles flag. These 3 designs all have historical sources to back them up. Each 3 of them do. So it's been very confusing for my camp to figure out exactly how the Wayne Rifles flag looked. We don't know if we'll ever actually have concrete, this is what it looks like, because I wish I would have loaded it up. But the center where the tree was on the flag is completely been eaten away from the years at the courthouse where it was in the sun. It's a silk flag, so it deteriorated.
Right, with hand painting.
Yeah, with hand painting, as well as the Wayne Rifles. And to protect and avenge, that's the translation of that at the bottom, were cut out along with a star. So there is some record to say that the lettering was gold. Some records say the star was gold. Some say it was a regular white, like a traditional Bonnie blue flag, which when I talk about the Magnolia flag from the Republic of Mississippi days, that's, the inspiration is the Bonnie blue flag in the corner. But it's very unique, that history, because it is got so many historical sources that point to a different design. So tonight, in honor of the show, I did bring the one we got from Beauregard's Tailor. Of course, you can see what his research brought him on the tree here, and of course the Wayne Rifles flag as well. I should have brought my camp flag. It's usually in my office, but I actually took it out a couple days ago to make sure that I didn't accidentally put it in my truck again. But that's one of my favorite things about that flag, the 3 different designs. And we actually recently discovered a 4th description of the flag, where the center of the flag is actually a magnolia blossom, similar to the 3rd Mississippi Infantry flag, which is kind of what my brigade flag is. You can go look up 5th Brigade, Mississippi SCV.
Or you can go on Beauregard's Tailor, and he's got a replica of that flag on there.
Oh, okay. Let me just pull that up since he has one. That's why I love Beauregard's Tailor. I always find something new when I go to his site. I purchase a lot of stickers and stuff from him. So let me just pull this up for reference. And here we go. Oh yeah. He's got a great, easy to navigate website. So all you need is this. So yeah, there's a So there is a record out there that the Wayne Rifles flag could have looked very similar to that as well.
Yeah, and that flag was at Beauvoir.
Yes, it
Katrina.
was. And so, yeah, no, it's very weird. The multiple designs there are of the Wayne Rifles flag, and all historically accurate, all from All these depictions, by the way, are from Wayne Rifle soldiers, people who served in the Wayne Rifles. So that's what makes it even funnier is you have 4 designs now for this flag, and they're all from people who served in the Wayne Rifles. So which one is the flag? Sadly, as I said, I don't know if we'll ever know the answer. I like how Beauregard Tailor has it because we did recently discover where he got this tree design from because we found it ourselves. And it described this big tree. The one thing we know for sure is they did depict grass. As you can see, there's grass at the bottom of the tree at every design. There was some grass at the bottom of the magnolia blossom as well. So that's one thing we know was the fact that at the end of the tree, there was a grass design. Unlike some magnolias, which is just the tree or just the blossom. And we do know that the letters Wayne Rifles, and of course, to protect and avenge, under there in Latin were gold, but there's also conflicting reports that the star was gold and or it could have been white. But that's the cool history of my camp flag. I used this all the way back in the first Funds with Flags episode, but that's when we thought it looked like this. So I thought it'd be cool tonight to talk about these 3 different designs and of course talk about the magnolia blossom one. It just was very unique. And I, of course, have a soft spot for that flag. I'd love to have one at every camp meeting. We have our camp flag right now. We're currently hopefully going to save some funds in the future and get an actual just regular Wayne Rifles flag. But that's the current one the camp has voted on as our historic representation of the Wayne Rifles flag. But as I said, there's so many interpretations out there. It's always going to be a mystery. But the next flag I have up is, of course, the regular Republic of Mississippi flag, the Magnolia flag, also lovingly called. And I do have that one here as well. Oh, wait, no. I lied. Look at that. Oh, wait, no. Yep, there it is. Okay. It's so similar. That's what
He lied about lying.
I lied about lying. But, of course, the Republic of Mississippi flag. Let me get to it real quick in my notes. In 1861, after Mississippi voted to secede in January, we originally had the Bonnie Blue flag flying over the state capitol. A bit later in January, we decided we wanted something unique for Mississippi. And that's where this flag comes in. Of course, you can see the Bonnie Blue in the upper corner, but we picked, of course, the magnolia tree with a beautiful white background. And we picked it because the tree represents strength, beauty, and the natural heritage of the region. Of course, this would have flown the whole war. As you could see tonight with our Wayne Rifles flag, there's multiple variations of it. One of my favorite things about this flag is every Magnolia flag was unique. You have the 3rd Mississippi, you have the Wayne Rifles, and countless others that had the Magnolia flag as their flag, but almost every one of them was unique because it was all handmade back then. So you had this one that was the states. But a lot of states or a lot of people would either just have the tree like that. It would have blossoms on some of them. Of course, just the uniqueness of this flag is why I love it. Not to mention, it's also Mississippi's flag. I love the Magnolia flag. It flies at my house, the state one. And, of course, along with the real Mississippi state flag. And, of course, I have this design, also from Beauregard's Tailor. So this is just, again, a beautiful flag. All these are high quality made, by the way. Hey, go support Beauregard's Tailor because not only can you get these flags, but he also has a lot of stickers of the flags, which I also like, so I can put them everywhere because I like stickers. But that is the Republic of Mississippi flag. Love it. I knew I was going to be able to give y'all, the deep dive history on it. So I thought I'd go from that angle of the uniqueness of it and how not a single flag was all the way spot on. There were so many variations of this flag. And again, that's my favorite part about it because I'm always learning about a new variation. And I just love each and every variation. Now, this last flag, I thought I'd throw in for my friend Stark Miller, a phenomenal historian over there in Oxford, Mississippi. Shout out to Dr. Chris Cummins, by the way, one of our other sponsors. And, of course, the 11th Mississippi Infantry flag. Now, this is actually their first flag. They would later come out with another flag, but we'll talk about that in a second. The 11th Mississippi Infantry flag, also known as University Grays flag, is, of course, the flag of the students from the University of Mississippi. In the spring of 1861, after Mississippi seceded, across the South, young men rushed to volunteer. At the University of Mississippi in Oxford, the students organized a military company known as the University Grays. Nearly the entire student body would join the effort. Accounts show that over 135 students enlisted, only leaving around 4 students attending classes in the fall of 1861. With so little students, the University of Mississippi was temporarily closed during the war. Now, I also want to give a shout out to the Lamar Rifles, which were a lot of the professors. Now, some professors did join up with the 11th Mississippi, but some of them also joined the Lamar Rifles, along with a lot of the people from the town joined the Lamar Rifles. And they worked pretty closely together. They would become Company A of the 11th Mississippi Infantry, and, of course, would be under the Army of Northern Virginia. Of course, one of my favorite things is how the stars are laid out in this flag as a cross. It's always been something that catches my eye since I was a student at Ole Miss. And since I am, again, a student at Ole Miss, I thought it was appropriate that I talk about this flag. What'd you say?
New Miss. Ole Miss is dead.
This is true, sadly. Of course, this flag was able to go to a lot of battles. The first Battle of Bull Run, 7 days, Battle of Second Manassas, and of course Gettysburg, where the University Grays suffered the famous
100%
casualties. Every soldier from the University Grays was either killed or wounded during Gettysburg. And again, that one was just always painful. And of course, a monument was erected on campus honoring the soldiers of the University Grays who fought and died in the war. And of course, Stark Miller is single-handedly battling to keep that history alive. So shout out to Stark Miller, one of my mentors, one of my first mentors when it comes to being a historian. So please go follow him on Facebook and Twitter, Stark T. Miller on Twitter, because he has a lot of great stuff from there. So, yeah, those are kind of the flags I brought to this tonight. As I said, two of them are one of them is actually a redo. Fun fact, on our first Funds with Flags episode, I was going to do the 11th Mississippi flag, but I couldn't find any information on it at the time.
Well, that flag's now in Corinth.
Ah.
Yeah, at the not the St. Andrew's Cross, but the First National is at the Corinth Military Interpretive Center.
So yeah, that reminds me, the 11th Mississippi flag was actually captured at one point, and so the University Grays got a new flag, this beautiful battle flag that had their battle honors listed on it. So that was also a cool design, but I picked the first design for the University Grays. That's the one probably most recognizable for students in Oxford. It's a flag that still flies. A lot of students fly proudly.
Well, we're about to take our first our commercial break for the evening, but really quickly before we do, just wanted to remind everybody that the AOT is having a workshop/reunion May 2nd, 2026, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Wetumpka, Alabama. If you are a member of the Army of Tennessee and you are not on our Facebook group, please search for it and get added. You'll find the registration form there. We're focusing on community outreach, heritage operations, those things and how they are impacted on the local level. Should be a good time. But also, I want to thank our sponsors. First of all, thank you for everybody on Patreon who is sponsoring our wonderful show. Whether you're a member of the $2.50 a month Feed a Moose a Corn Dog level, the $10 basic chat head, the or real chat head, excuse me, the $30 a month merch tier, or our $80 a month sponsor, we do appreciate that, especially Derek Glover. Shout out to him for joining it at that $80 a month level. He is trying to figure out exactly what he wants his sponsorship to be, and what he wants set on it, but we do thank you for that. Really quickly, do want to shout out to our sponsors. Speaking of flags, remember, Museum at Market Hall, home of the Confederate Museum in Charleston since 1890, I believe 1899 or 89. I don't have my glasses on. They're somewhere around here, I think, maybe, or back in my other office. Anyway, if the flag is out, they are open. They do have some wonderful flags, specifically of South Carolina origins, if you want to visit them. Their normal hours are Thursday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Go check them out. Owned and operated by the UDC, and they are very helpful to the cause. They could definitely use our support. So go to Charleston and check them out. Of course, we've already mentioned them multiple times. We'll mention them again. Andrew Casimar, we appreciate you, sir, for your sponsorship of this show and your dedication to history, and especially to heritage. The one thing I'm going to try to pull up his website really quickly, because I saw this earlier. I wanted to, really highlight it on there. It's kind of one of the things that he shows. Let me share his website really quickly. Sure. Nope, that is not the right thing. For those that are not from who are not on our Patreon page, you will have for those that are, but yeah, take pride in your heritage, know your history, be proud of your state, read, learn, think for yourself, choose your colors and fly them boldly, speak with courage, stand with conviction, and teach your children. I cannot think of a better thing than that sentiment right there. But I'm operating my new computer that Patreon got me, so I appreciate that. Again, we also have Todd with 31st Regimental Engraving out there in California. We appreciate that. You're the only part of California that we really like right now, you and the rest of the California division. But check out his shop and everything that he's got to offer. If your camp needs a new challenge coin, if your girlfriend needs some new earrings, if you want to honor your ancestor by, not only flying a replica of the flag that he fought under, but getting one of those lovely memorial wristbands or anything like that, 31stregengraving.com. Check out Todd. Of course, Larry and his new book. And again, don't forget, you can get a copy of that this weekend and hear him talk about it at headquarters, or you can get it if you cannot make it at booksbylarry.com. Get your copy of any of his books, including the new one, The Paradox of Freedom, today. There was a review written on Abbeville Institute the other day about it. And Harrison, how about you talk about Doc one last time before we take our break?
All right. Well, have you fallen off a fence recently?
No.
Well, I have. Have you tweaked your knee?
No.
I did that just getting up this morning. Nearly 30 is getting
old
to me quickly. Have you poked your or your eye with a stick?
Nope.
I did that this winter. So if you've done any of those things, go check out, or any other thing, go check out Dr. Chris Cummins, MD of Oxford, Mississippi.
I do have two stepkids that wear me out.
Well, you should go see Dr. Chris Cummins. He'll make you feel good and treat you with some great Southern hospitality to the point where you're going to want to skip the apple so you can go see the doctor. So go check out Dr. Chris Cummins in Oxford, Mississippi, and he'll make you feel good.
If you look at either of us, we already skipped the apple anyway. So
yeah.
Anyway, we'll be right back.
See Dr. Chris Cummins.
Yeah, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
When my mother was in college, she danced with Confederate veterans. To me, it wasn't that far away. My father knew this. My mother knew this. Almost 50 years ago, I joined the Sons of Confederate Veterans. In those days, we weren't concerned about saving monuments or any of those things. That wasn't necessary. In fact, none of us had any remote idea that it would ever come up. We can't just sit there and react. we have to be proactive. Or, as Robert E. Lee said, the best way to disrupt your enemy's plans is to strike first. Everyone should do all in his power to collect and disseminate the truth, in the hope that it may find a place in history and descend to posterity. History is not the relation of campaigns and battles and generals or other individuals, but that which shows the principles for which the South contended and which justified her struggle for those principles. If you're looking for some place to be where you think you're going to accomplish something to save our history, go to the Sons of Confederate Veterans. I'm Thomas Lee Jesse. I'm a descendant of Private Daughtery Gilmer, a Confederate veteran.
That one always gives me chills because,
Yeah, we haven't played that one in a while.
well, I mean, it's a legit call to action of if you want to preserve your history, if you want to fight for it, join the Sons of Confederate Veterans, which I couldn't agree more.
So anyway, well, I went a little bit different on my flag approaches this evening. I have no flags directly related to my ancestors. I kind of wanted to go a different route with some of these. And you'll notice with the first couple that I share that they all have something unique about them. So I'll see if y'all could figure out what it is. So this is the first one. This is the 6th Mississippi Company I's original flag. It was presented to them from the ladies of Brandon, and within the wreath of stars, it says "Our Home." That company was originally called the Rankin Rifles, but was later renamed the Rankin Grays. My home camp in the SCV is Rankin Grays Camp 2278 of Florence, Mississippi. So that is the original flag of my SCV camp. This next flag is Beauregard, or Andrew rather, says that it is called the Oxford Secession flag. And in his research, he actually has a picture on the website about from the newspaper. But it's a quote. It's from the Oxford Intelliger from December 5th, 1860, page 3. Quote, there now floats from the top of the Masonic Hall over the Intelliger office a handsome flag, we venture to say, as can be found. It is a flag of 15 stripes, and in place of the blue field with its galaxy of stars, there is substituted but a single star on the right near the top, a magnolia tree and a rattlesnake coiled with the motto, Noli me tangere, which is do not tread on me. The design is unique and appropriate. The execution is highly laudable, and the ladies and gentlemen who are concerned with getting it up deserve the highest praise. So Oxford, Mississippi, of course, is where the University of Mississippi is. It's hopefully where we'll have a national reunion at one day. We're working on that. But that is the secession flag from Oxford. This next one is the 9th Mississippi, or the Lafayette Guards. The 9th Mississippi, they fought in several different campaigns in the Western Theater of Operations. Most notably, there's a famous picture of the troops of Company B of the 9th Mississippi encamped in Pensacola, Florida. The regiment fought or were stationed in Florida, and then after that was transferred to Shiloh. They fought in the Kentucky campaign. They fought at Murfreesboro. They were mainly in the Army of Tennessee. So they were not engaged at Vicksburg, but they fought at Murfreesboro. The 9th was heavily involved in fighting at Murfreesboro, known as Hell's Half Acre, which is sometimes referred to as Mississippi's Half Acre, due to the heavy casualties Chalmers' brigade took there. In the spring of 63, command of the brigade was assigned to General Patton Anderson, and the 9th remained in Tennessee until until September, when they fought at the Battle of Chickamauga in North Georgia. They charged the Federal lines 4 times during that battle. They also fought at Missionary Ridge before the Army redeployed to Georgia. They were briefly combined with the 7th Mississippi, fought throughout the Atlanta campaign, including at Rocky Face Ridge, Resaca, New Hope Church, Ezra Church, and Jonesboro. Of course, at the Battle of Franklin and Nashville campaign, they suffered heavily. At Franklin, the 9th took part in the nighttime assault on the Union trenches, engaging in hard hand-to-hand combat with Federal troops. General Sharp, who was wounded in the battle, and his brigade captured 3 stand of Union regimental colors. Following the defeat at Nashville on December 16th, the 9th Mississippi redeployed to Mississippi. It was ordered to the Carolinas in April of 65, but at this point, Sharp's brigade had taken so many casualties that their entire strength was only 420 men. Survivors of the brigade were consolidated into one single regiment, combined with the 7th, 9th, 41st, and 44th regiments, along with the 9th Mississippi Battalion, and designated as the 9th Regiment. They ended up surrendering in North Carolina in 1865. But this would have been one of their first company flag, but heavily engaged. There's kind of the picture in the background of it. Final flag I'm going to bring up is from the Trans-Mississippi, or what would be the Trans-Mississippi. This is the St. Louis, Missouri secession flag. In the early days of 1861, St. Louis, Missouri was a city politically divided primarily along ethnic lines. Many immigrants from Europe had made their way to St. Louis, a great number of them from Germany and Ireland. 2 people with great political differences could not be found. The Germans, particularly the leadership, were participants in or sympathizers with the 1848 communist revolutions in Europe. Their goal in 1861 mirrored that of 1848, the establishment of a strong centralized government. They had a natural affinity for the same goals espoused by the new Republican Party. The Irish, on the other hand, had their fill of strong central government and its abuses in support of the states' rights movements. Each group became the core of an opposing faction in St. Louis. Francis P. Blair, leader of Missouri's Republicans, formed the St. Louis Unionists into militias called Home Guards or Wide Awakes. The majority of the members of these units were German, most with European military training. The Communist Revolution had also reached St. Louis at this time. Among the Southern leaders were Kentuckian Basil W. Duke, South Carolinian Colton Green, and J. Rock Champion, described as a big-hearted, big-bodied Irishman. The 6'2" giant was a natural leader of men. The states' rights organizations took on the name Minutemen. Each side began drilling openly, preparing for what both assumed would be a future clash. A major point of question was the ownership of St. Louis arsenal and its contents. Not trusting the loyalties of the arsenal commander, Blair succeeded in getting Captain Nathan Lyons Company B of U.S. Infantry transferred to St. Louis from Fort Riley, Kansas. In retaliatory protest, the Minutemen planned 2 flag raisings. In the pre-dawn darkness of the morning of March 4th, 1861, Rock Champion, Basil Duke, which is also Confederate Flag Day, Colton Green, Arthur McCoy, and James Quinlan went to the federal courthouse. Quinlan, Champion, and McCoy fixed the colors about midnight, while Duke and Green stood guard below. The flag is described as an American ensign with only 1 star bearing the Missouri coat of arms. So again, this flag would be the flag that the pro-Southern men would have raised over the United States courthouse. You'll also see something I did forget to mention. I'm going to backtrack for a second. In the 9th Mississippi and the Lafayette Guards flag, the words Portus Eris et Foisis, which is Latin for altars and hearts, and was emblazoned on it. But that's what I want to get at. First and foremost, you'll notice what do these flags have in common, people? Anyone?
I'm waiting to see. What do these flags have in common?
Okay, I will go ahead and tell y'all. they are based off of these stars and stripes, because many of our ancestors argued that we were not rejecting the American Revolution or the Constitution, but rather we were defending what we knew, or what they knew, was the original principles of these United States. And we claim, and still we claimed then and still claim now, that the North had violated the constitutional compact of states. And because of that, we Southerners felt that the stars and stripes were ours, because we were still fighting for the American heritage that our forefathers in the American Revolution gave us. We were not leaving. I can't remember who said it, but to paraphrase, we were not leaving the United States. The United States left us. And again, with the communist ideas that were coming over with Germans and several other immigrants during that time, and we can go off on Lincoln if we want to and take up the rest of the episode, but we're not. But those ideals which the North was fighting for, was not the same ideals that were espoused in the original founding documents of this nation. So again, a lot of Southerners thought we should not leave the stars and stripes. The stars and stripes were ours. Plus, you think about it, the United States of America was founded by Southerners. Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Patrick Henry, so many others that can be named. The first of the number of the United States presidents who were Southerners. Southern treasure and Southern blood had secured our liberty from the very beginning of the American Revolution through the War of 1812 to the War with Mexico and all the expansion west and everything like that. It was Southerners who went out to Texas and blazed the trail, and it was majority Southerners who died at the Alamo. We're talking, with the Alamo having fallen, the anniversary the other day. Excuse me. So it was America, was founded by Southerners and upon Southern principles. And that's the whole point. We were not willing to give up those ideas and principles. We thought that those ideas and principles were ours. They are ours. And we were the real ones defending them. So why give up the stars and stripes? So, but yeah, and Charles makes a very good point. Would have been a lot more problematic than the stars and bars on the battlefield, and indeed, that's why we went towards that flag with the First National, because it did harken back to the Betsy Ross, the original, flag, but different enough to do that. But that's why I wanted to bring those out there, to bring that idea to everybody's mind. So. Next flag is the flag of the CSS Arkansas, and that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize. Is that in fact I was at Vicksburg the other day for my birthday, and going through the national park and having just blared "I'm a Good Old Rebel" while driving through the Yankee siege lines to get to the USS Cairo. I overheard somebody who was giving a tour. One of the people asked, "So is this a Confederate boat or a rebel, or American boat, or a rebel boat?" I'm like, "It's the USS Cairo. What do you think that means?" But people forget that the Confederacy did have its own blue and brown water navies. I grew up. My adopted grandfather had several museums in Vicksburg. And was a big fan of Confederate Navy. In fact, the CSS Arkansas, despite being named after Arkansas, was built in Yazoo City. She was commanded by Isaac Newton Brown, and she was rushed into service because the Federal Navy was trying to capture Vicksburg from the river. And on July 15th, 1862, the Arkansas steamed out of the Yazoo River into the path of a large Union flotilla near Vicksburg, Mississippi. Before her lay a gauntlet of warships of the United States Navy, including vessels commanded by David G. Farragut and Charles H. Davis. Rather than retreat, Brown ordered full speed ahead, and the ironclad directly plunged between the enemy formation and exchanged broadsides at close range with the different ships. Shot after shot slammed into her iron plating, but she continued to fire in reply. After more than an hour, the Arkansas fought her way through the fleet, and despite suffering damage and casualties, the ironclad continued down the river under a storm of fire, and Union vessels attempted to ram her and disable her, but determined, the crew kept firing their guns and kept the engines turning, and one by one, the Federal ships were left astern, and the Arkansas forced her way through the entire fleet. And the Yankee fleet eventually set sail back down south the river. And again, between that and the batteries on shore helping, it was very much a David versus Goliath type situation. And the Arkansas did that. We actually, a couple years ago, had a dedication of some headstones for the crew that did fall during that fight. So it was very, very interesting story there. Please research it more. Confederate Navy gets very little credit. And in fact, I believe Captain Brown ended up getting the Confederate Medal of Honor years ago. I believe also Savez Reed, who was on that ship, got it as well. The next flag is the flag of the 22nd Mississippi Infantry. It's specifically Company C, the Sarsfield Southrons of Vicksburg, Mississippi. Reason why I picked this, that company was a 100% Irish company, and you could see on there it has the Harp of Erin on it, with the words "Erin Go Bragh, Ireland Forever" emblazoned upon it. The unit itself was heavily engaged throughout the war. Starting during the Battle of Belmont, Kentucky, November 7th, 1861, Shiloh, Baton Rouge, Corinth, fought rearguard actions on the retreat from Corinth, the Steel Bayou expedition, Fort Pemberton, Champion Hill. At Champion Hill, when the Federals broke the army, the portion that the 22nd was under did not go back into Vicksburg. They went to reconsolidate with Joe Johnston's army. They fought at Kennesaw Mountain, Peachtree Creek, Big Shanty, Decatur, Alabama, Columbia, Tennessee, Franklin, and Nashville. They fought 4 rearguard skirmishes out of Nashville under General Walthall, including at Columbia again. Then again at Pulaski, Sugar Creek, Tennessee, and fought at the Battle of Bentonville and later surrendered after Bentonville. So very hard fighting unit. Like I said, with it being March and St. Patrick's Day coming up, I just felt that was appropriate without having to throw a Hardee flag up there. Another one, shout out to our Louisianans in the audience tonight. Louisiana, this flag is from the New Orleans Guards. At Shiloh, the story goes that they were wearing blue militia uniforms, which looked very similar to those worn by federal soldiers. And because also at this point they were using that flag, they were mistaken for Federals, and they were shot. And the next day in battle, they turned their coats inside out so that the lining was facing, so that wouldn't be mistaken again. This next flag, these are not really, so it's interesting what Andrew did with these. I'll read the diary entry. This comes from 4th Corporal William Membrane Pollard of the 1st Tennessee Infantry, Company D, Williamson Grays. Diary entry from March 16th, 1865. Past a crowd of young ladies with flags flying upon which was inscribed, "Faithful to the ashes of the Army of Tennessee. Welcome to South Carolina. God is for us." 2 p.m. stop with Mr. Nicholson, wet and cold. No additional information is present regarding the type or style of the flag or how the text was presented. So this is his historical interpretation, just like Harrison had one for the 43rd Mississippi Infantry. However, based on the nature and context, it's more than likely that the flags were either a South Carolina state flag or 1st or 2nd national colors. As such, these 3 examples have been reproduced, representing likeness and appearances, all of the flags being copied from known South Carolina local production of flags. You have to remember that just like uniforms in the Confederacy, flags were produced at various different depots as well. So these would have been, produced by a depot, especially later on in the war. The South Carolina State example base is designed around one from Chester County, South Carolina, with the text wrapping around the palmetto being a common style seen amongst South Carolina colors. The First National is based on a surviving small personal flag made by a lady in Charleston, with the text placement and colors common amongst First Nationals with significant text. Finally, the Second National is based on a South Carolina produced example, with the text, style, and colors being placed in a manner similar to other such colors from across the South. I hope one day that, somebody goes through an attic and they find an original, but, it is, cool to see him doing that. Just one more quick shout out with Alamo City Guards. Y'all go check Christian and them out, what they're doing. Of course, Beauregard or Andrew is making he's making a reproduction of that, but you can actually see that flag at the Alamo, and talked about the Alamo a minute ago. We got to see it firsthand this past summer, didn't we, Moose?
Yeah, we did. It was an awesome trip. I can't wait to go back. One of the best museums I've ever been to.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Finally, this evening for the flags that I brought in, actually not finally, I have one more after this one, I believe. First Mississippi Light Artillery. Andrew sent me a copy of this flag as part of our swag gift. And I couldn't identify it. I knew it was one that was involved in Mississippi, because you could read the battle honors: Chickasaw Bayou, Baker's Creek, which is Champions Hill, Big Black, and Vicksburg, and then Barnett's Farm. And in doing research on the unit, the different companies of the 1st Mississippi Light Artillery actually fought at several different places. For example, Company H, known as Connor Battery, commanded by Captain George Ralston, was assigned to the Trans-Mississippi Department in 1862 and operated independently from the rest of the regiment. The battery took part in the siege of Port Hudson, the Battle of Milliken's Bend, the Battle of LaForge Crossing, and the Second Battle of Donaldsonville, along with other skirmishes. Companies B, F, and K were deployed across the Mississippi River, also in Louisiana, and took part of the siege of Port Hudson, the Battle of Plains Store. Other companies, which exactly this would have been one of their companies, took part in the Battle of Baker's Creek or Champions Hill, were also fought at the Battle of Big Black River and defended around Vicksburg. Part of them were assigned to Ward Adams's cavalry regiment after the fall of Vicksburg. They were sent to Georgia, Franklin, and Nashville. One company took part in the Battle of Harrisonburg or Tupelo under Stephen D. Lee, and companies B, C, D, I, and K were posted in Mobile. During the final stage of the wars, the companies among the defenders of Fort Blakely. And several of the men were taken prisoners to Ship Island. So just a really, really interesting history, everywhere where they were from. You had guys from Yazoo County, Choctaw County, Hinds County, Jefferson County, Warren, Adams, Yazoo, Claiborne, Carroll County, just from all over. They were armed very differently. Some of them had 12-pound Napoleons, some of them 12-pound howitzers. One battery had a 6-pound field gun, a 10-pound Parrott rifle, a Blakely rifle, a 3-inch ordnance rifle, a 3.3-inch rifle. Just a hodgepodge of everything, but kind of served everywhere as well. So just a really cool history with that. And then finally, kind of talking about Harrison. This flag is very special to me because it's the regimental flag of the 13th Mississippi Infantry. The Harrison talked about the Wayne Rifles original flag. Well, the Wayne Rifles were part of the 13th Mississippi Infantry. He talked a little bit about Barksdale's. They were part of Barksdale's brigade, and of course, y'all remember last year I did that presentation on Barksdale. They had 481 men go into that charge. 28 were killed, 137 wounded. Also fighting in all the other various actions that the brigade fought in. But it's special to me because when the Mississippi Division SCV, just like other divisions, have a car tag. This is the original sample of our car tag, which you can still get to this day, and you do not have to be an SCV member to get it, but it does go and support our efforts in preserving the flags that are held by Mississippi Archives and History, as well as other things that we've changed our constitution to allow to. My dad fought for us to get that car tag, and when I was division commander for my 2 terms, we did a major push on preserving those flags. I believe we preserved 5 of those during my term, and the very last one that we preserved, we voted on preserve, was that flag. of the 13th Mississippi Infantry. So that one always has a special spot in my heart because not only is it Barksdale related, but it is also, kind of, one of the last good things I did while I was in office. So,
yeah, I was at that DEC meeting too.
So yeah, Wes, we knew that several Missourians fought on that. No, Chuck, she was built in she may have been started in Shreveport, but she was fitted out and came out of Yazoo City. And is buried in the Arkansas is buried in the levee opposite Baton Rouge. Yeah, Earl Van Dorn decided to try to recapture Baton Rouge, and it was after she had sailed down, which she wasn't fully fitted out, ready to go when the Arkansas went down the river and was having problems with her engines and everything like that. And Van Dorn thought it was a good idea to bring the Arkansas down there with her, and the engines messed up, and we ended up blowing her up. And yeah, but she was a terror for the Mississippi for several days. Like I said, I believe Captain Brown got well, Wiki is wrong.
Wiki says a lot of things.
Yeah. I've got a really good book called He Saw the Elephant, which talks about that. And if ever there was a man who knew about the CSS Arkansas, it was Lamar Roberts. That was my adopted granddad. And in fact, Dad gave a talk on the Arkansas, that stuff that he had learned from Lamar and firsthand research that I've got in my files. So, yeah. Anywho, it is currently 8:10, so that means it is time for us to wrap up this wonderful episode of SCV Chat. And I hope you have all enjoyed it. I hope you've had some funs with our flags. Hope that this has inspired y'all to go out and get some flags, or go research vexology or something like that, or go check out Beauregard's Tailor for whether it's a flag, a sticker, a t-shirt, a lapel pin, or if you are trying to get into some authentic reproduced reenacting or reproduction clothing, definitely give him a look. He does amazing research on his items, as we have shown off tonight, and hope y'all will. What are you doing tomorrow night, Moose?
Well, I think I'm going to sit back and, I don't get to sit back, but I do get to listen to Tennessee Tuesday in the background as I work tomorrow.
Yes, Tennessee Tuesday is tomorrow with Tennessee Division Commander Blankenship, who'll be on. I believe he also has Charles LeRae. Charles is going to be on as well. So y'all make sure to give that a look-see. And then what are you doing Wednesday besides church?
Well, I will be listening to Look Around Florida with the Florida man, Sean McFall. I actually got off the phone with him today. Me and him talked and had a great little visit. It's always good to hear from you, brother. And keep up the good work in Florida. Go look around Florida to see the good stuff they're doing in the Florida division.
And then Thursday...
Well, Thursday is actually pretty interesting. Tennessee Tuesday is having a candidate for Lieutenant Commander in Chief on, and this Thursday we'll have another candidate on. Army of Tennessee Councilman Roy Hudson will be on to talk about his platform for Lieutenant Commander in Chief. So make sure to check that out this Thursday at 7 p.m. Confederate Standard Time.
And then Friday, I'm waiting for... I did not see anything about the Friends of the Douglas South Hall Freeman group, if they're doing anything tonight, but I am sure that David will tell us.
Yes, please, David. Please.
Sure he'll tell us or not. And then, of course, Saturday off, and then starting over. Yes, they will be live. They will be live. So you be sure to check them out. And then on Saturday, we have the Mississippi Division officer training and general membership workshop. So Moose and I will be at that. We're for sure going to record some of it. don't know if we are going to be able to live broadcast any of it. So, yeah, it is
We'll
what
see.
it is. Yeah. And then, Sunday starts back in again with History with Hardy. Next Monday, we will have Michael Hurley back on to walk with us through our Bible devotion for the week or for the month. So definitely come and tune in for that. Don't know which scripture we will be in, but I'm sure the good Lord will lead us to something. And then finally, the week after that, we'll be back to. Actually, no, we have an extra week this month. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, which should be the 23rd, which should be Adam's week. Is
Ooh, do we plan for that?
No, we have not, but we'll come up with something.
Yeah, I was about to say I've been so focused on getting ready for April. For those who don't know, April is a huge month on the show. That I did not even think about that.
Yeah, we'll see if somebody wants to come on and Lincoln Bash.
Ah, yes, Lincoln bashing, my favorite hobby.
Anyway, we hope that y'all have enjoyed this episode, and that you'll be back with us. We'll be back with us later on. But in the words of the late and great Harold Philpotts, no Fumar in the elevator.
No
And in the words of Adam Southern, come to the Sam Watkins Book Festival, this weekend. And redder frop.
Rare frop.